Keeping this week's pregame show rolling with a visit from Mike Gittens from the War Rapport, and in my mind, the best source for Auburn sports out there. So go give Mike a follow, and he's been talking more about Hugh Freeze and the future of Auburn football as opposed to this game this weekend. But Mike, I'm sure it's been a whirlwind for you this week. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Well, Billy, this game will have a lot to say about the future of Auburn football if you can pull off a win. What is happening in Nashville here this season is remarkable. And, I never thought that we'd be in a place where, again, Vandy would be the most signature win Auburn has had since Hugh Freeze came to Auburn. And top 15, man, I mean, they've earned their spot, I think, in the national conversation. And Auburn's got, a challenge on their hands coming this Saturday.
All right, I'll ask one Hugh Freeze question, then we'll actually dive into the game.
All right.
I'm interested what this era has been like for you to cover. Obviously, the quarterback situation, that never unfolding the way the fans would have liked it or Hugh Freeze would have liked it, is a big part of this. But how has it impacted the fan base in the way they think? Auburn fans are as passionate as any fan base in the country, and obviously it's a tremendous job. How has it impacted the way the fan base feels? Probably not necessarily about the program, but about Hugh, because to me, they were in on Hugh at the beginning, but then, things quickly, unfolded in a tough manner. But how have you been able to track this and how the fans have felt about it?
Go to my Twitter and scroll down the last Saturday and watch the video of 30,000 people who stayed to chant "Fire Hugh" after the game. It was an incredible spectacle. And, my freshman year at Auburn, Billy, was 2001. I worked on the football staff as a student. So I was there front and center for that 2004 season where we went undefeated. I saw this fan base, cheer for Jason Campbell and boo Jason Campbell, a guy who ended up being a first-round draft pick. Auburn fans are used to pain, right? They're used to being overlooked. That 2004 team, I don't know if they would have beat USC in that title game, but I feel pretty confident in saying with the 4 first-round draft picks they had, they wouldn't have got beat 55-19 the way Oklahoma did. And I'm telling you, in all the years I've been working for the program or covering the program or just a fan, I've never seen anything like that last Saturday versus Kentucky. It was the amount of resources available to the head coach at Auburn is remarkable. You have a $92 million performance center, football only. It rivals some NFL facilities that I've been in. And that's not hyperbole, man. That's for real. I'm telling you, I've been, to like the Chargers facility, very unimpressive. What Auburn has is very impressive. You've got a stadium now with 2 state-of-the-art video boards. One is one of the largest in the world, outdoor video boards in the world. They just put a brand new one in the north end zone. A night game at Jordan-Hare is it's a light show, man. It's a complete production. It is a world-class football experience. And your floor is you can't score a touchdown. Versus Kentucky, one of the worst defenses in our conference, if not in the country. Same versus Arkansas. They were the 124th in total defense in the FBS coming into that game. Auburn managed 1 touchdown and 6 field goals in that game. The Hugh Freeze era is going to be remembered for 2 things: the inability to pick a quarterback and an inability to score a basic amount of points. We'll move on and talk about the game, but on Monday when John Cohen stood in front of us, the Auburn media, he said, if we had even an average offense, I wouldn't be standing in front of you right now. That's how good the defense is. And to put that in perspective, Auburn has not allowed more than 24 points to any opponent this year. Only 2 other teams in the country can say that: Ohio State and Indiana, and they're ranked 1 and 2 in the country respectively right now. So if that tells you how bad the offense is, that you have literally a championship level defense and you're a sub 500 football team, Hugh Freeze had to go. He did. And, his daughters were all over social media saying, we were promised 4 years. Yeah, right. No, yeah, we were promised a good offense, and you didn't deliver on that. So we
Right.
can do away with your 4th year here and move on.
I want to go back, to the start of the season. Yeah, at Baylor, put up 38 points on offense, and you roll through a couple of non-conference games against Ball State and South Alabama, and it looked like that this offense would finally be figured out, sorted out. And then, of course, you go to Oklahoma. Arnold sacked. I don't even know how many times. Still put up 17 points. I don't know how many points the defense scored there, but you roll into Texas A&M. I think that's obviously when it started to get a little ugly. Only 10 points against Auburn as well. That Missouri game, that was right before Vandy played Missouri, and we were locked into that. And just I knew that would be a similar game, in the Vanderbilt game as well, and it was. And I guess how much of this has been the offense's struggles? But look, Auburn has been snake bitten. How much credit do you give, them being snake bitten? I mean, the referees obviously were a huge story in the Georgia game, and similar story, I think, in the Missouri game, a couple of plays. But how much of a factor has that played? Because I hear that a lot this year.
Yeah, look, look, at the end of the day, you can't ignore what happened at Oklahoma. You can't ignore what happened at Georgia. Yes, they were a factor in the results. However, I think Kentucky made it real. I've tried to tell people 2 things can be true at one time. Yes, Auburn has gotten screwed at times this year, but also your offense has been so bad, it's made those calls relevant to the outcome. Where if you were just average, those calls wouldn't even have mattered. Yes, they
Right.
would have still been bad calls, but it wouldn't have mattered to the outcome if you could have just hit that one more throw. Now, the only game that I will exclude from this that I think was absolutely completely stolen from them was Oklahoma. Man, they
I
stole that
agree.
game from
Yeah.
Auburn. The Georgia game, yes, some really bad calls. As a matter of fact, they forced Ken Williamson practically into retirement.
Yeah.
And after the Oklahoma game, the SEC took the unprecedented step, Billy, of not only saying that they were wrong, but announcing that they were punishing the officials involved.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got 3 or 4 games this year where there's some kind of officiating
Yeah.
controversy around Auburn. None of that is an excuse for this piss poor offense, though. And
Yeah.
what was the egregious call versus Kentucky that cost them the game? No. You got into the end zone, the red zone, one time in that game, and that was because the defense intercepted the pass and got you down there. Or they might have scored no points in that football game. For as much money as it's been spent on this roster, you have one of the best wide receivers in all college football in Cam Coleman, and we're not sitting here lauding his numbers right now because you can't get him the ball. This is coaching malpractice that we're watching here with all this talent on the Plains. There's a science to talent development and evaluation. And I'll tell you this not before after Hugh Freeze's first year, Tommy Tuberville, former coach of Auburn, went to Hugh Freeze and urged him to pursue Diego Pavia. Go get this kid. Go get this kid. Go get this kid. And I think there was some interest from Diego as well, too. Now, I'm not saying he's not happy at Vandy. I'm just saying he had some interest. And Freeze decided to go whatever route he decided to go. And I don't think you can argue that at least the results of what Pavia is doing at Vandy is way better than anything that we've seen from a quarterback at Auburn consistently. Right?
Yeah.
So he just missed. I mean, Hugh Freeze needs a quarterback that can save him.
Yeah.
That's what he needs because he damn sure hasn't developed one.
Yeah.
It's insane. And we were promised quarterback development. And I think that that's going to be part of this story on Saturday versus Vandy. Last year in this game, Vandy won 17-7. Diego Pavia went 9 for 22 for like 143 yards, which are not great numbers. And he ran 12 times for 26 yards, like 2.2 yards per carry. But when
it was one drive that won them the game, that last drive, yeah.
Right, yeah. But when they needed a play, you had a guy who could make that play, and Auburn didn't. And that's the difference in the ball game. You scored 7. You held Vandy to 17, and I think that that's relevant here because Vandy put 40 on Bama and ran up all of it down the field on the board.
Yeah,
Auburn held them to 17. Don't tell me that this team can't win. They can win. The talent is good enough. He blamed the talent the first 2 years. He blamed the talent repeatedly his first year. We got to recruit. We got to recruit. Well, in year 3, now it's your roster. What's your excuse? I told people 2 years ago, I said, this isn't a roster issue why they missed the bowl game. It might be a roster issue why you don't win 10 games or make the playoffs. But 5 and 7, that was about coaching, man. And right now, I don't think anybody would argue Vandy is a more well-coached team than Auburn is, and it's not close.
Yeah, part of me is upset that Diego Pavia doesn't get to face Hugh Freeze again, just because of the spectacle and how much social media would have blown up. But for Auburn fans, it's got to be a positive that you get to see Derrick Nix in there, and you get to see what could happen. Obviously, Ashton Daniels is going to get the start. We'll see how much Arnold plays. And does Deuce Knight factor in? What do you expect to see from this Auburn defense? If I'm Auburn, and I know DJ Durkin knows this, I know Derrick Nix knows this, screen passes, block on the edge. That's what Texas was able to do. You've got the receivers to do it. Can Auburn do that?
Yeah, look, it comes down to this offensive line and pass protection. I think you're going to see Vandy pin their ears back, come after these quarterbacks. This offense, we were told that Auburn had 6 offensive linemen that would receive NFL grades. They lead the SEC in sacks given up on the quarterback. Now, some of that is on Jackson Arnold holding on to the ball too long. But again, we'll see if, with Derrick Nix truly at the helm, if he can remedy that. Sometimes the remedy for a offensive line that's struggling in pass protection is a quick passing game. Get the ball out of his hands quickly on time. Can Ashton Daniels make those timing throws accurately and give the receivers a chance and keep the ball moving forward? You've got a great run game. You've got Jeremiah Cobb is one of the best backs in the SEC, if not the country. He is absolutely dynamic. You completely abandoned the run. Stick with the run. Last year, Jarquez Hunter was probably the saddest story in all of college football to me. He finished second in the SEC in rushing, Billy, with 70 less carries than the SEC's leading rusher, Dylan Sampson. But he was averaging 6.4 yards per carry.
Yeah.
If you had given him those 70 extra carries, he would have been a top 5 back in the country. So, will there be a commitment to the run? We'll see what this looks like here. If you're Derrick Nix, I want to remind people, Derrick Nix came out of the Lane Kiffin coaching tree. He watched he learned from one of the best play callers in all of college football history. So when you remove Hugh Freeze from the equation and some of the wacky, I'm going to just do this random thing at this time type stuff, or, he was inserting himself into the process rather than trusting his offensive coaches. And, everyone has asked me, they were like, what does a Derrick Nix offense look like? I said, you know what? The sad thing is we don't know. We don't know. I think we're going to find out Saturday. DJ Durkin was clear. He's not going to interfere on that side of the ball. He's going to let Derrick do his thing. So if you're a Vanderbilt fan, I would caution you that anything that you've seen on tape in terms of how Auburn runs its offense might be completely irrelevant going into this Saturday now that Hugh Freeze is no longer there.
With DJ Durkin at the helm, obviously we know this Auburn defense is going to play well. I mean, if it's anything like the Texas game, obviously Vanderbilt put up 31 points, but for three quarters, that Texas defense held Vanderbilt down. So did Missouri. LSU just didn't execute. I mean, they were undisciplined, and they left way too many rush lanes for Pavia. And I think I look at that defensive line for Auburn, Mike, and I go, if they leave rushing lanes for Pavia, they could be in trouble. But if they get pressure on them, if they throw on the tape of the Missouri and Texas game, they should be fine. So in terms of Durkin, the energy around him and how the team rallies around him, have you seen that this week in terms of some of the comments? And obviously there will be a lot of Auburn fans there. How much does just the energy and the vibe of Durkin taking over and leading that defense? He's been the coordinator, but being the head guy now, how much of an impact do you think that makes?
A huge impact. These guys believe in him, man. I had a chance to see him before the Kentucky game. He was down in the recruiting center before he walked out on the field. And, I shook his hand, let him know, hey, big fan of your work. You do a great job coaching these guys up. But Durkin is a detail-oriented guy. And so much so that when you talk to the players, they would tell you that offensive and defensive practice, if you watched it, you think there were 2 different football teams the way they're run. Now we have a chance to see that sort of energy and attitude infect the offense with him as the interim head coach. And I'm looking forward to seeing if that pays dividends here. More alignment in terms of what the game plan is and how to execute it. That's going to be the story here for Auburn. I think the big story here for Auburn in this one. Look, Derrick Nix knows football, and people forget, even though he's offensive coordinator, he is also the running backs coach, and I would argue his position group is playing the best of all the offensive position groups right now.
Mm-hmm.
He can coach football. He knows football, and removing Hugh from the situation gives us a chance to see if, with Durkin trusting him with the process and then supporting him with the energy and the organizational skills and the attention to detail, if that could lead to 21 points on Saturday. That, I mean, the way Auburn has played defensively, that might be all they need to win this football game, which is not a lot of offensive production in today's college football. You should be able to luck into 21 points if you're Auburn with all this talent. So there's no disrespect to Vandy and what they've accomplished this year, but this is still a very, very talented Auburn football team. Look at the recruiting, man. I mean, you can't really deny it. On paper, they are super talented. It just hasn't come together, and the coach got fired because everybody recognizes that the talent is there, but the results are about the process being ineffective. So DJ Durkin's process, what will it yield? Well, if his detractors will say, well, he was a losing coach at Maryland. He actually had a really terrible run of injuries at quarterback during that 10 and 15 stretch. He's technically 11 and 15 as a head coach because he did one game as interim at Florida. But this guy knows football, man. I'm telling you, and I'm looking forward to seeing him get what turns out is going to be in real time audition for the Auburn head football job. Can you imagine if he wins the next 3? How would you not give him the job? You'd have to be top 15 Vandy and top 5 Bama to close your season. So you would win 7 games and go to a bowl game for a chance to win 8. And that would be an incredible story for DJ Durkin. If you're John Cohen, just don't overcomplicate this. Promote the guy, keep your roster together, and then tell Cam Coleman and all those guys, we're going to go find you the most premier offensive mind in college football. This offseason, Auburn made DJ Durkin the second highest paid assistant in the entire country. Ohio State really wanted him to come, and we broke the bank to keep him on the Plains. Do the same thing on offense now, just with him as head coach. Break the bank, go find the best offensive mind in college football and get them in here with all this talent, and then tell your players, we got you. So it starts with Vanderbilt on Saturday.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And obviously we know the Auburn fans are going to travel well to Nashville like they always do. What do you think tells the story of this game? I like to ask that every week. And on the Vanderbilt side, obviously, if their defense, that's not the harder job. I think the harder job obviously is Vanderbilt on offense. Can you finish drives? Who has to kick less field goals and the field position game? What are some of the things you'll be watching in the box score? And sometimes the box score obviously doesn't tell the story, but what do you think if Auburn wins tells the story? And then if Vanderbilt wins tells the story?
Yeah, I think this is a very, very simple script here. The story will and always will be about whether Auburn can manufacture points. It's really that simple. We don't have to overcomplicate this. I think this will be a defensive football game. And, recent history has, I think, bared that out. Last year, again, we had a 17-7 game where Auburn really just stopped themselves. And Vanderbilt did everything that they needed to do to win that football game. Again, the numbers weren't gaudy for Diego Pavia. However, when you needed a play, like you said, it was all about that one drive. Mm-hmm. When you needed a play, he made it. And if you're Auburn this week, is Ashton Daniels going to be that guy that can make a play when you need it? I think it's going to be close. Billy, I haven't checked what's the updated spread on this game?
I think it's still 6.5. I want to say.
Is it?
Yeah.
I
wouldn't touch that. I would not touch that in a million years.
That's funny.
It's the most disgusting spread I've ever seen.
Yeah, it looks like it opened at 7.5, and now it's closed down to 6.5. You're right. And over under a 45.5. That could be high if Auburn continues as they have been.
Because let's face it, it'll be about Auburn. And that's kind of Vanderbilt's style of play. They let the other team beat themselves. Mm-hmm. And it's I don't want to discredit Vanderbilt in a lot of their wins, but that's how a lot of their wins have gone. LSU beat themselves, Missouri beat themselves. And look, Vanderbilt has done enough offensively, but I do think in an interesting way that this will be about Auburn.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Look, and again, that's not me. If you're a Vandy fan and you're watching this, that's not meant to be disrespect to Vandy. I
Yeah.
think because we know what Vandy is.
Right.
They're a well-coached football team that can win games in a variety of ways with a quarterback that will just make the play in whatever kind of game it is. So if it's high
Mhm.
scoring, he'll run it up. If it's low scoring and gritty, he'll grind it out and he'll take the hits, man, and he'll do whatever he needs to do to win. But when you look on the other side, it's a lot harder to predict what kind of
Mhm.
football. Are we going to see the Auburn that beat Baylor by 14 points in Waco? Because fans got really excited after that. I called that game 38-21. They won 38-24.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've nailed pretty much every Auburn game all year, but I'm telling you, this one I have no. I know. I think it's going to be low scoring, but you just never know because you don't know what Auburn is. And
Mhm.
anybody claiming that they know what this is going to look like on Saturday is full of it, Billy. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
we are all going to be on pins and needles waiting to see what kind of Auburn offense rolls out here. We know what the defense is. We have no idea what the offense is going to be. And if it is any semblance of average, I think Auburn has a good chance to come out with the win.
I'm with you. I think it's about Auburn's offense, and man, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, 3:00 kickoff in Nashville, and we'll see what happens. Mike,
I hate the
appreciate the
time.
time,
I hate
man.
the time. I
It,
wish it was a night game, man.
I know. I wish it was either night. I love 11 a.m. kicks because you're done. You can go back and watch the night games. But 3:00 is just. I'll admit it's awful. I mean,
Yeah.
your whole day is gone. But yeah, I appreciate it, Mike. Looking forward to it, and we'll see what happens, man.
Thanks so much, Billy. I thank you for having me.